town you never heard of.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
Welcome back to Common Folk.
Let's go. Podcast for the people, by the people.
There it is, guys.
You ever heard anybody with that kind of radio
I was going
voice
to say
like
that was a radio voice.
Yeah.
Do you do this like as a side gig?
That's his nickname.
Too bad you
bit.
didn't get above the 8 ball with the AI though, because the AI is just taking it from you.
Yeah. Well, there's people are selling their voices to AI, so maybe I need to get on that before it dries
There
up.
you go.
So,
Well, you
yeah.
have to sell it before they're going to take it. I just saw an
Exactly.
Instagram video of this girl, and that they took her
They
voice,
stole
and
her
they're
voice.
like, yeah totally.
The hot chick. She's the Black Widow.
No,
super duper hot.
this girl
What's her-
wasn't
God, what's her
super
name?
hot, but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Gosh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, what is
Blonde
her
hair. She was married-
Avengers. She's
Yeah.
the Black Widow.
The Black Widow. She was married to Ryan Reynolds back in the day.
What is her
okay.
name?
What about her? They took her voice.
They offered to buy her voice or pay her to use her voice. She said, "No, I'm not into that stuff." And they said, "Okay." So then they came out with whatever it was, and she's like, "That's my voice."
Scarlett Johansson.
Got it.
There you go.
Is that who it is?
Yeah,
Bingo.
ScarJo. Yep,
This
ScarJo.
one says, oh yeah, Scarlett Johansson. For
Yep.
some reason, it
Yeah.
immediately brought up Natasha Romanoff.
Because that's her character.
Oh, okay.
And-
Okay.
Oh,
You guys not watch Avengers?
No.
I don't either,
No.
but I
You
do.
boomers.
Yeah.
I am a big ScarJo fan, though. So
She's great.
we're
Yeah.
old people.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
We're not
that's what it
taking these
says.
two to trivia night. That's
no, no.
Do not take me. I'm
No,
hard.
sir.
Yeah.
No, not.
Those movies, man, like
There's too many of them.
it is.
They're so good though.
And it's like it is kind of like overwhelming to think about trying to get into it because there are so many. But and it's weird how they all like play together.
Yeah, where do you
know,
start?
like
There's an
Iron
order.
Man. Like I've seen
Okay.
a bunch of Iron Man, but then like I'll see some of that other stuff and it's the same people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Hey, since we're on this real quick, what about K-pop Demon Hunters?
I know nothing about it.
Ah,
I
dang
have
it.
friends who have kids that are into
Jeez.
it, and I'm
Yeah.
like my homeschool momish brain sees the word demon in a title of
Yeah.
something, and I'm like, okay, my kids won't watch
Yeah.
that someday. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not like I'm not saying it's not wholesome or whatever, but it's huge because it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
I
It's even
haven't-
at McDonald's now.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I know nothing about it, but
He keeps
The
trying to
fact
get
that-
us to watch it, and I'm like, I'm just not into cartoons.
is it good then? It must be good if you're trying to convince your adult friends to watch K-pop. Demon Hunters.
Yeah, I really like it. Like,
Okay.
and I just went off on a tangent last night. We were watching the end of some Disney movie. Oh, it was Moana 2. I'm like, I'm so tired of this perversion where all the bad guys are good guys. They're just misunderstood.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it. Just let bad guys be bad guys. You know, we kind of
Yeah.
need bad guys in order for this
Right.
whole damn thing to work.
No,
Like,
I agree with that.
you know?
Because it's teaching kids that maybe like someone who doesn't have your best intention maybe actually does. It's just under a cloak of evil. And it's like, no, evil exists in the world. So maybe just
Right.
like believe them the
Yeah.
first time.
And what is more in-your-face evil than little coconuts that are all spiky that are shooting poisonous darts at you, trying to kill you and drown you?
I agree.
Those are bad guys. Just
Yeah.
let them be bad guys.
Bad coconuts.
Okay, bad coconuts, whatever they're called.
I don't like coconuts anyway.
See? Look at this guy.
You're not going on Survivor.
Yeah, definitely not.
Don't talk
No
to him more.
Survivor, no trivia for Ben.
No, he's out.
I'm not. We've talked about this. I'm not drama enough for Survivor.
You would do so good because
I
your
would
brain's
do-
like,
I would do great, but I wouldn't have
and you're
the
good at
show.
challenges.
Yeah.
Morgan, send in his application.
I know. I want to do it so bad, but my stomach, I don't think would work there. Just wouldn't be good.
All the weird
maybe,
island foods.
maybe Naked and Afraid.
No, I'm out on that.
I don't think.
Andy, I thought you were going to say, yep,
No,
I'll do that.
I wouldn't even. If Ben was on it, I would not watch. Is what I was gonna say.
They fuzz out the
blur it
stuff.
out.
I think that makes it worse sometimes.
Like, you want to see it? What?
No, I
You didn't say that.
I didn't say that at all.
Makes it worse.
Like, I don't know. There's certain times where like there's a certain. I don't know. I don't want to get into that.
It is strange.
it's
A certain
tough.
angle.
That's a
well,
tough
but your
one.
people that you're with on the island obviously see you. So.
Yeah, you're seeing all
And those
yeah,
cameramen. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You don't have that hammock on your stuff.
There's
so.
like a server somewhere with naked videos of you the rest of your life
Yeah.
that you have no choice in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Andy's
there.
Andy's signing up for that.
I'm on the server. I'm the one selling the access.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm not. I don't.
Wait, but
I'm not.
who's this voice that's talking? We haven't even.
Yeah, so we've got
Done any
a guest today.
introductions?
Scarlett Johansson.
There you go.
So how this came about, there's a lot of things going on in the world in general, obviously. But one of the big things in our kind of area of the world is agriculture, and just how life's being affected by that, how agriculture is being run, how our politics are being run, how all those kind of play in together. And I was telling you guys before we started here that I had listened to an episode of Sean Ryan with a gentleman who's running for governor in Iowa. What was his name?
Zach Lane.
Zach Lane. And it was very intriguing.
Yeah.
What he's talking about and the things that are going on in Iowa. And we've heard about these things. We've touched on them on our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the stuff that's going on with Iowa and agriculture and water and all the things that go along with that.
We had the millennial farmer talking about it.
Yeah.
And like he was kind of reluctant even, like, oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
The master pipe layer had
Yep.
a great quote,
Yep.
and I never forgot it. It's whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. And the profession that he's in with drain tile and all that kind of stuff, he's right in that right in that arena.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I got to thinking, man, we need to talk to somebody from Iowa. And on social media, you're on social media as Joy of All Trades, right?
Yep.
First name Joy.
Yep.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I've been following you for a couple of years and just kind of picking up some of your stuff as, social media feeds it to me. And the only thing that I knew that I can remember, that I picked up from social media was that you're somehow involved in agriculture. You're pretty outspoken about the things that you believe in. I see things like I feel like regenerative type things, health type things. You seem like a young person that was just kind of coming up and had some ideas and just wanted people to understand like there's different ways to go about these things.
Yep.
And I knew you were from Iowa. So I was like, I think this lady's going to fit the bill. So lucky for me, I messaged you. You said, yeah, let's do it. You're not far from us.
Yeah.
So where are you at in Iowa?
I'm from the Pella area originally, if you know where Pella
Pella,
is, like Vermeer Equipment, Pella Windows.
Oh yeah.
That's where I grew up on a farm about 10 miles east of Pella.
Okay, cool. How long did it take you to get here today?
It was like 2:20, I want to say. 2 hours, 20 minutes, something like that.
Okay,
Wow.
not horrible, but
I was I feel like I went a little slower because of that
Yeah.
cell that came through.
Kind of crappy this morning.
Yeah, it was like all of a sudden rain, and then it was snow, and then it was kind of like frozen rain, and I'm like, I hate this.
Yeah.
God.
So that little bit of description that I gave with what you're doing with social media and who you are.
Iowa State for Agriculture and Communications against like all desire to go to a college in Iowa or pursue any type of future in Iowa. I was like hell bent on getting out of the state. Like I was that like farm kid that thought Iowa
Yeah.
sucks
Yeah.
because it doesn't have mountains and it doesn't have oceans and there's nothing fun about it. And I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here. And I totally felt like God just like pulled me to go to Iowa State for Agriculture. And it was like the last thing on my list. So against like all thoughts of wanting to pursue other stuff, I went to Iowa State for ag. Right out of college, I started working at a soil and water conservation district in my home county as a watershed coordinator, which most people are not familiar with that. But essentially, I wrote a big ass grant, got a ton of money to help farmers spend it on conservation practices, mainly focusing on things that reduce soil erosion, things that improve water quality, anything along the lines of cover crops to wetlands to buffer strips, things like that. And it was a ton of fun. And I loved working with my farmers. And throughout that process as well, I was kind of posting things on social media. I started really during COVID, which is when I was graduating from college, and that kind of took on a life of its own. I really didn't have any like goal or true intentions of like what kind of content I wanted to post. And that was back when, I mean, you guys were familiar with that time too. That was like the wild, wild west of
Yeah, it
content.
was.
Like no one knew what the hell was going on. There were no rules to the game. It was just like, here's TikTok and here's, Instagram, and now there's going to be videos. And it was just kind of this wild time. But I just kind of ran with it. And I really started making just funny TikToks that were like relatable or like country kid Midwestern vibes. And they seemed to like resonate with a lot of people. And that was just kind of fun to like see how it grew into this own monster
Yeah.
of like, oh, there's a ton of people in the world just like me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
sometimes you feel like it's just you, and I'm like, oh, no.
You're not on an
We're all
island.
rednecks deep down. Like,
Yeah.
there's a ton of us. But then throughout that process, I was just recognizing that there wasn't really anyone in the content space talking about conservation and agriculture or talking about regenerative ag. And I just recognize it's really important. Even for people that don't give a crap about it, it affects everyone's daily life. It affects the future 50, 100 years from now. It affects our economy in Iowa because we are an agricultural state, and no one was talking about it. And I just recognize that some of that is because people don't know or people don't care. And it's also maybe not the most like sexy toy in the corner that everyone wants to talk about. It's not the $1 million John Deere tractor, right? So it's not coming up on people's social media algorithms. And I just wanted to change that. I thought these things are important. More people should know about them. And I'm going to talk about them. And I really had no idea what I was doing. But I did it anyway. And here we are.
It
Look
worked.
at that.
It worked.
Look at that.
So it's grown to something serious. Like what platforms are you on, and what kind of follower counts are you seeing?
On Instagram, I have over 100,000. On TikTok, I have over 170K. And then my Facebook, I really just kind of like started and tied to my Instagram. I don't know why I didn't do that sooner. That was kind of a dumb mistake.
Because you thought it was for old people.
Yeah.
That's why.
And I was
It's okay,
like,
it's okay.
my personal Facebook was tied to my like content, Joy Van Trades Instagram. But anywho's, so now I'm also on Facebook, but I don't have near the following on Facebook, but it's growing. But those are like mainly my drugs of choice. Those are my
Instagram and
favorites.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Your
I'm on
primary
YouTube
platforms.
a little,
Yeah.
but I don't do a lot of long form unless there's something that I have to have 10 minutes to talk about. Then I'll put something on YouTube.
Yeah.
Did you say you were on X?
I'm not on X.
You're not on X?
No, that's one that I think would just suck my time too much. And I get so much of X on my Instagram.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
everyone just saw what Donald Trump tweeted over the weekend, you know? So it's like, I don't think I need another one to take my time. So
Right.
I'm not on X.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more. You'd catch a lot more static there, but
I think I
there's
would.
there's more freedom there, and they're right in the thick of it as far as battle for video, being a video platform, where I feel like Instagram kind of wove the flag, like fine, we'll just take videos, doctored up videos, that's us,
Right.
but we're gonna get video on Reels on Facebook. It's just the streaming wars, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I see the positives for X, but there's some big time drawbacks, and I do think it can be toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what you said about how you came to a realization that there were so many more people like you. And that's really why we started this podcast. And that's why we call it Common Folk. Like those people that you're talking about, that's the common folk. That's really the 80%, right? We've got 10 on each side. That's a little extreme, but really the 80% in the middle is all thinking the same things, experiencing the same things, knows something isn't right, wants to learn about it, those
silent
kinds of
majority.
things. Exactly, 100%. Can you, kind of how you came up. So you grew up in Iowa. What was your parents, what did your parents do? What was the family life like?
Row crop operation, no livestock as long as I've been on the farm. My dad also is a contractor, owns like a construction electrical business, and then my mom ran books for that business. So kind of like just small business owner type mentality that grew up, and that was really what was modeled to me as a kid.
Are your parents still farming? Is your family still farming?
Yeah, my dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't you think it's kind of strange, and most people don't realize, like most farmers, row crop farmers, like they have a second real job.
Oh, yeah,
I'll put in
everyone does.
Parentheses, right?
Or mom has a real job in town.
Yeah, someone has to have
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, but I mean,
I was going to say, is it that or because you wouldn't make it?
I think both.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would argue both. I mean, people that farm full time that have no other side gig, I don't know if I know a single one.
Yeah.
Really?
Unless he's a boomer and he's like, he made it really good in like, say when hogs were big in the 80s and he made a bunch of money then or
Okay.
something. There's a few of those guys out there. But like off the top of my head, thinking of someone that has no other side gig, whether that's a social media channel, whether they're trucking on the side, whatever it may be, I don't think I know anyone that's like under the age of, I want to say 65.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, people don't realize that about
Yeah, I
the
don't
industry
realize-
and about
yeah.
agriculture.
Huh.
How much additional has to be done there to make things work.
Yeah.
And like you said, insurance is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So trying to figure that out.
You have siblings?
I do. I have an older sister.
Okay. So you're the baby.
I'm the baby.
Okay. And
My
you guys,
boyfriend reminds me of it all the time.
so you guys
being
were
a youngest
working?
child.
Like working on the farm helping, or you had other jobs outside, like growing up? You know what I mean?
Growing up, yeah. I mean, heck, I think I got my first, like, what I would call an actual job when I was 16, you
Okay.
know, or else, like,
Yeah.
you always worked up until that point as a farm kid. Like, you're free labor. But, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, that kind of gives us a little bit of idea of kind of how you came up and where you're at. Today, are you living close to home, to where you grew up? Or?
Yeah, not far.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you have a boyfriend. What does he do? We talked about it a little bit earlier. He's kind of got some things going on.
He works in the outdoor media industry.
Okay.
Yep. So he's an operations manager for an outdoor media company.
Nice. Andy's
Fantastic.
involved in that as well.
Yeah.
He's very
Yeah.
very familiar with that.
Right.
That's cool. So, in terms of Iowa, like, let's start with what do you think? Like, what are some of the hottest topics on your mind that's going on in Iowa right now? Let's talk about a couple of them.
Jeez, just start off with a zinger, huh?
Yeah. Pick
get
which
into
one.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
'cause
that's no shit. Which one?
Right. I've got some too, but I'm curious of the perspective of an Iowan. Like,
Yeah.
what is on your mind? What's on your guys' mind?
Well, I think, Iowa right now is coming up in a governor's race this fall. Our last seat has been filled for a long, long time. Governor Kim Reynolds isn't coming back in, so there's a big gubernatorial race happening this fall.
So somebody new has to go in
Yes.
place
Yep.
coming up.
Yep.
Okay.
So I think that always kind of just brings up kind of like your question, like, what are the issues in Iowa? What are Iowans talking about? Because whenever there's a big race such as a governor's race, everyone starts talking and everyone wants to know, what are the top three issues right now in Iowa that people are concerned about? And one of them is water quality. Iowa has horrid water quality. Some of it is from farming practices, some of it is from industrial waste, but the nitrates in our water are a big issue. And I'm not saying it's all ag related,
Right.
because if you put chemicals on your lawn so your
Yeah.
lawn looks pretty and weed free, that's ending up in the storm water system, then that's ending up in your water treatment facility, and all those things have to get filtered out. And if they don't, you're drinking that, you're showering in that. That's where your water comes from. A big population of Iowa is Des Moines and the metro, and the Raccoon River and the Des Moines River are what supplies a lot of that water for the people of that area, and it is a very, very polluted tributary, concerningly so. And we're seeing that in the fact that we have the fastest growing cancer rate in the entire country.
Oh, I did not know
The
that.
fastest growing cancer rate. Yeah. And it's appalling because it is the fastest growing cancer rate in the history of civilization. So it's not just like, oh, they're also having this problem in India and they're also having this problem over here. And it's like we're basically even with these other big agricultural powerhouses across the world. No, I was leading the charge in number one highest cancer rate. So that's concerning because there's several counties now. There's actually a website you can go to and look at all the different counties in Iowa and see what your chances of getting cancer. So
wow.
in several counties, I want to say some of them are the bottom two tiers in Iowa, but they're honestly scattered all across the state. You have a 50-50 chance of getting cancer.
What?
Yes. So I think that realization is hitting a lot of people, a lot of young families, a lot of people that are wanting to have kids in the state of Iowa. They're saying, okay, if I have 4 kids and we decide to live in XYZ county in Iowa, 2 of my kids, from a statistic, a probability standpoint, are going to end up with some form of cancer. And they're coming to conclusions now saying there's a lot of these different cancers that are related to our water quality problems. And that's something I saw on social media that wasn't getting talked about years ago. So I just started kind of beating the dead horse about getting a water filtration system installed in your home, paying attention to what your legislators are voting for, because a lot of them are saying nice lip service things,
Sure.
and then they're voting against bills that directly impact improving our water quality. And that's really frustrating because I thought this is not a bipartisan issue. This has absolutely nothing to do with politics. This has to do with the future of our state. This has to do with the health of our state. This has to do with a simple resource that we all share that impacts every single person every single day. So why are we not talking about it? And then also, why are we not standing up for it at a legislative level? That was very frustrating to me. And I'm just like a young person. So obviously I'm just
right.
like naive and I'm just like getting into my career. And I'm like, why is no one talking about this? This is really important.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed like a few years went by and a bomb just hit Iowa. And now everyone's talking about it. And I'm just like, this was the flag I was waving this
Right,
whole
right.
time. you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
But it's a problem. And now people are talking about it because of this upcoming governor's race, which is kind of refreshing to finally see, but also frustrating because I think there is a large population of Iowa that is still in denial about it and or thinks it's a threat.
Okay, so that was going to be my question. Do people just, one, don't know? Or are they like just being naive? They're not wanting to, like if there's data and information's out there, why are we not, why are these people of Iowa, one, even living there or choosing to not do anything about it to guard their own family? I mean,
I think it's both.
okay.
I think there
that's just crazy.
It feels like it, right?
is.
I'm like, how can you stick your head in the sand about this issue?
Yeah.
But at the same token, there is a lot of money in big agriculture that will do anything to keep the word from getting out about this. I think there is a huge investor class and, overlords of our country that want Iowa to remain a sacrifice state because there is so much being exploited and so much being extracted from Iowa because we grow a lot of corn, we grow a lot of beans, we're a big ag state, we're, number one, or I think we're number one in hogs. Sorry, Nebraska.
I think you are.
I think we are. It changes like every once in a while, but I'm pretty sure we're number one in hogs. So I think there's just so much money coming from Iowa, and big agriculture doesn't want that to change. That hurts their bottom dollar.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden the people of Iowa are saying, okay, we have a water quality problem, well, what can we do to solve that? Some of the solutions would include those guys not making as much money.
Lower production.
Follow the money, right?
Yeah.
It's not overly difficult to figure out. But then you go to some of these big ag groups and organizations, and there's literally a senator. I saw his video yesterday on Facebook. I'm not even going to call him out, and I probably would butcher his name, so I'm not going to say it. But he's sitting in his tractor applying anhydrous in the spring, boasting about how good of a farmer they are by applying this nitrogen responsibly as he's sitting in his tractor in a completely blackened tilled field putting spring anhydrous on. And I'm just like, this is a joke. Are you trying to what's the word when someone's gaslighting?
Gaslighting?
Yeah.
I was gonna say blackmail. I'm like, that's
I
not
love
blackmail.
that.
It's like, are you trying to gaslight the Iowan people,
Yeah.
or are you genuinely under the belief that like you are doing the right thing? Because sometimes I think people really don't know.
Right.
There's another legislator from my home county, from where I'm from in my Dutch community, who is on record. There's a video of him going around saying that the water quality problem being caused by nitrates is a myth. He says that on the floor in our state house, and he's not running again. Thank the Lord above. But it's just like those boomers, that older generation. I think a lot of them are totally bought into the fact that it's not a problem, and they're going to keep preaching it. And if they're in power and they're the ones voting on some of these issues, those things aren't going to change.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, I'm not saying we need to like turn over and have an all new young blood. I'm not like trying to beat up all the boomers, but part of the message that they're preaching is the issue. They're like outwardly saying this isn't a problem. Look at us. We're doing all the right things. And unfortunately, it's lip service. It's coming from big organizations, nonprofits, the Iowa Farm Bureau, people that are trying to wave some flags saying, well, Iowa's number one in water quality, and we're number one in buffer strips. And then you can go to their farm. I can drive to their farm next to their fields, see them tilling up, using poor practices, not a single cover crop on the field, no buffer strips in sight.
Explain what a buffer strip is?
buffer
That's
strip?
interesting because one of my buddies from Iowa was like, oh, look at all these beautiful buffer strips when I was riding along the country. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah,
Like, there are some.
This was like 8 or 9 years ago, too.
There are some buffer strips, and like there's wetlands in Iowa. There's over 1 million cover crops now being planted every single year, and we know that from different research I can get into. Yeah, but it's like what a great thing to wave a flag on when like we are still having a cancer problem, our water quality, our nitrate levels that we have to pay a lot of money to get filtered out because we have the biggest nitrate removal system at Des Moines Waterworks.
Yeah, like in the world, right?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And
it
yet
was
we
like
have 3 million people in the
The
state
biggest
of Iowa.
nitrate removal system in the world.
But it still needs to be better.
It was
sounds
basically
like.
obsolete as soon as it was put in. It was basically obsolete then, is one of the things I heard. But anyway, explain what buffer strip
Buffer
is.
strips are essentially any stream, creek, any drainage ditch having vegetation. What's the word I'm looking for?
Like a perennial
yes.
grassland.
Okay.
So
Yep.
like kind of like how The Everglades is supposed to work, where it filters the water before it hits the ocean.
Okay.
That's how these buffer strips are supposed to work. And it looks really cool. And you can just see how, oh my God, you're going to have a lot of pheasants funnel out and live in those buffer strips. So like everybody wins. And the state of Iowa even pays the farmer a little bit of a credit if they don't plant corn in there, and they do plant, perennial grasses and blue stem. So they make it up on that end too. So like, there's an incentive there, and South Dakota does a great job with like buffer strip type stuff. And I just wish
because
Nebraska
hunting recreation is a part of their
Yes.
economy.
Yes.
Like how many people talk about going bird hunting in South Dakota?
Exactly.
Right.
If we could become that state. I'm not saying we're going to be like the state. No one's going to, I don't think we'll ever be like the pheasant hunting state, but we could be a way bigger contributor, and we could bring in a lot more money for recreation in the state of Iowa if we did stuff like that.
Yeah, I-90 gets backed up opening weekend, and I just think it'd be really cool for all those guys coming up from Georgia and Alabama to go pheasant hunting. That's their annual The Boys trip.
Yeah.
Let's stop in Iowa. Let's stop in Nebraska, and let's do a 3-day hunt there. Let's do something different. That could happen, and that I don't know. I don't think it would take too much to allow that to happen.
No.
But you're against some pretty big players there, and you're figuring that out.
I have a death wish.
Well, you were talking about your local guy saying that it's not an issue and it's a myth.
Yeah.
I'm big into Google Analytics, and I manage a couple YouTube channels, so I that's a reference I go to a lot. It's the second biggest search engine in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of people just think of it as YouTube TV entertainment. No, it's a search engine by trade.
Yes.
And I think from the videos that I looked up, just type in Iowa water, and then the rest fills it out for you. Crisis is the next word. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and 6 years ago, something came up in Iowa, because that's when videos were flooded over these issues. And a big one that I kind of looked into was from KCII, Channel 8 there in Des Moines,
Yep.
the CBS affiliate, said, latest study shows nitrate causes 300 cases of cancer in this area alone, in Iowa.
Yeah.
Per year, in just Polk County or something like that.
300.
300. Now, that was 6 years ago. So the word's been out on this for a long time, and it's been hitting the mainstream media and all that, but it falls on deaf ears. Well, I wouldn't say deaf ears, but ears that aren't interested in helping you, helping the common folk. And you mentioned how Iowa, you used a couple of really good terms there.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, gaslighting. But no.
There it is.
Wealth being extracted from Iowa. It's not the wealth, it's the production. We're going to make our wealth over here, but we need your raw product that only you can provide because of your beautiful, fertile land, and you got all these waterways, and a lot of farmers figured out, hey, if I just take out a little corner, I can put a little hog slat in there, and then I can sell their shit for an upcoming farmer and use that shit for more nitrogen. you know, and other stuff. So it's quite the system, but it's all about extraction, and it just kind of follows suit that, okay, that wealth never really was in the state. We just need the people there to do it.
Yep.
Okay, so that's leaving the state, and it's going to the people that are profiting, who are out of the state, that just don't care about your goddamn buffer strips. And I don't hunt pheasants anyway. And when I do, I go to South Dakota.
Yeah.
So like, man, it's such a... You get into it, it's a tough uphill.
Wealth that's being extracted is the health, right?
No, that's just a side.
Yeah,
It's
right.
both,
That
though.
does not
Yeah.
matter to
Right?
that does not matter to these people.
Because they're not drinking the water.
No,
Their
Right,
families aren't
right,
going to high
right.
school.
That's one of the
They're
most-
not investing in
Yeah.
the communities.
that's
they don't
one of the
care.
most famous videos on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, is that I want to start calling these people cocksuckers, but you know,
Wow, that's a good name.
anyhow,
Okay.
but that's
He
not
said
right.
it first.
That's not right. Just and that could get misconstrued as into like this or that, but no,
Yeah.
just demons. We'll go to demons.
Oh,
So anyhow,
K-pop demon.
yeah, K-pop people. They get into Korean music. So, anyhow, it was one of your like your guys, and he's like, that is a total myth, this nitrogen thing, and all the studies based on nitrogen causing harm, causing cancer, that's all been proved false.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was like an interview 15 years ago, and you know which one this is. And the guy goes, "Oh, well, that's interesting, because would you drink nitrogen?" He goes, "Well, I'd be happy to. Of course I would."
It was Roundup.
It
was Roundup.
This is nitrogen. Yeah, Roundup nitrogen.
Is that the video
No,
you're thinking of?
I'm thinking of nitrogen, just straight up nitrogen.
Okay.
And so the guy pulls out a glass of that water and he goes, "Oh no, I'm not going to drink that." And he goes, "Why wouldn't you?" He goes, "You're a jerk," and just gets up and leaves.
Yeah.
And he goes, while he was saying, he goes, "Oh yeah, people have tried to commit suicide drinking nitrogen and it doesn't work. That's how extreme this is." And he goes, "Okay, well here's a glass of
Drink it. Yeah.
drink,"
Yeah.
and he got up and he abruptly left and called the guy a jerk and threw his
Well, and
microphone off.
you got to think like, I mean, the problem that we're seeing today, this has come from a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like people didn't develop cancer after they had their first glass of nitrogen water, right? This has been something that's been developing for generations, and now we're starting to see the problems with it. So it's been happening for a while.
It's worse than just blue baby syndrome, which is one of the most direct,
Yes.
in your face, happens right away, where it's either going to be a stillborn or that little guy, if he's consuming any type of water, his skin's going to turn blue because he's not getting oxygen to his vital organs due to the nitrates in that water.
Right.
But that's just the surface level, a little guy that doesn't have an immune system yet.
Right.
But you're talking about the compounding interest, if you will.
Yeah, I just mean like right now we're
breaking you down.
You know, people are talking about Iowa having the highest cancer rates as an example. It hasn't always been like that, but probably 30 years ago, those people who have it right now, it was as bad then as far as what they were being exposed to.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to manifest. Now
Small
it's starting
doses
to show
over
its
time.
face. Yeah.
Yeah. And with the water quality issue, too, I feel like it's fair to also mention and bring up some of the chemicals, the agrochemicals that are getting applied, both ag in an ag setting and then on our backyards or lawns too. But like glyphosate is a big one, right? That's
Oh,
like
boy.
the naughty G word that everyone's mad about. But that's, I feel like, worth mentioning too. Because like, yes, we have nitrates in our water. We also have chemicals in our water that aren't getting filtered out. And then we're drinking that.
I think you're right. It was glyphosate that guy wouldn't
Yes,
drink.
because I know exactly what video you're talking about. And he
Right.
was like a rep for like Bayer Monsanto, the company that makes
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
product.
You want to talk about it leaving, not even just leaving Iowa, leaving the country.
Yeah, he was like, I ain't drinking that. And it's like, well, yeah, of course you're not drinking that. Because do you know what it does to plants? Do you understand the chemistry behind what it does to plants? What
Right,
the hell do you
right,
think it's
right.
doing to your body? At a cellular level, what do you think it's doing to your gut? What do you think it's doing to your cells? And we know this. Like these
Yeah.
studies they've been verified. We know the truth. Everyone wants to, like some of the big ag companies want to waive the studies that are like, oh, look, it's safe in this example. And I'm like, who do you think paid for that study?
Right.
Yeah.
Who do you genuinely think paid for that study? Like, I'm just to the
man.
point where I'm like, you're being a little boomerish here. Like, wake up and smell the coffee. That study was funded by this company because they want to keep pushing that product. It is they have paid out. You're telling me the company that's saying yes, our product is safe has also paid out over $11 billion in lawsuits because of people getting diagnosed with cancer. Yeah, not a chance, buddy. That study says Zach shit about that product.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't this a movie, Aaron Brockovich?
Yes.
It
Like,
is- it
I
does
love
get
that
very,
movie.
It does get very Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah.
Yes.
And-
Where was that at? Though, where
was
was
California.
That was California.
And I was
Yeah.
going to say, you type in water
I believe it's California.
issues. Every state has their issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but-
California, obviously.
Flint, Michigan.
Flint,
Right.
Michigan,
Everyone knew about that one.
Florida's in a big battle right now where free speech is being threatened. Like you can't even talk about people in a derogatory way.
Yeah.
You know, like they're taking free speech off the table.
Yeah.
But
so it's
Iowa
scary
takes the
stuff.
cake, it sounds like, with
With
the
water
worst.
quality.
Well,
Yeah,
currently,
with water.
currently,
Currently.
it's the current
you're one
hot
of many.
topic.
Nebraska's in the middle of it too. Wherever we have ag, it's the same thing downriver.
Yes.
You know, and we also are in a unique place because I think we have like the largest ocean underground. Is under
yeah.
Nebraska.
Yeah, is that thing still like, is it draining? Like,
Of course, it's draining.
what's the status of the Ogallala? Because I feel like we keep saying like, oh, there's only 20 more years. I'm like, I feel like that was 20 years ago. Like,
Yeah, we're like,
what's
is
the
it dry?
status?
And then those goddamn mountains in Florida or Montana, the snow melt and it regenerates. Ugh. But yeah, we need to extract that water. I mean, we wouldn't be a top 5 corn producer if we didn't do that. Like,
Yeah.
you were right. That is a desert out there. So that's a whole nother water issue. My point was everybody has their own water issues.
To rewind real quick, can you tell our listeners glyphosate?
What it is.
What are farmers using it for? I mean, I understand it,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think a lot of people don't.
So glyphosate is an active ingredient in a product called Roundup, and there's a crop called Roundup Ready Corn, which means you can spray this Roundup product on corn. It won't affect the corn, like it won't kill the corn, but it will kill weeds.
So like the genetic engineers have built into the genetics of this living corn plant.
Yes, the
that
seed
it is
genetics.
immune to
Yep.
the effects of glyphosate.
Correct.
So if people can just imagine that, you've got this thing that just kills life, but it has built in its DNA or in its genes that it doesn't get affected by it. So
Yeah.
science has created this thing.
Yeah.
So now the farmers can go out and they can spray this stuff with no worry of it affecting
not gonna
the
kill their
crop
crops.
that's going to make them money.
Correct. And it's going to take care of your weeds, right? Because weed pressure is a big issue when it comes to like getting high yield. If you're trying to make profit and you're like, I need to have a higher yield, I need to have the most bushels per acre, all that stuff. Weed pressure is an issue. So then, of course, this is why farmers have decided to do that. I don't blame them for that.
Right,
I
right.
think that's
No.
a big part of my channel too. I'm not trying to like point fingers and say this is your fault and this is your fault, and it's just no pointing fingers has ever helped anyone.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the farmers are the victim in this situation. They have been built into a system that was not ever looking out for their best interest.
Yeah.
And it happened slowly and it happened over time. And Iowans are pretty naive and we're pretty nice. So I think we just
Trusting.
went along with
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
not asking questions, not asking a question that Zach Lane asked, which is the reason I'm going to be voting for him, is what will this change do to our community? How will this impact our community, our hometown, our county, our school system? We stop asking that question, and now we're having the most bankrupt farmers we're ever seen. We're losing farmers every year. People are leaving the state. Iowa is a top 10 state right now in the country that people are leaving because of some of these decisions.
Yeah.
And I don't believe Iowans did any of this in assuming it would cause harm. I think they did it because they thought they had to. In the 80s, I believe it was like Earl Butz, like Secretary of Ag, or he was up in Washington, D.C. in the ag region of that administration, whichever who it was. And he made the statement, get big or get out. And it was all about ripping out your fence posts,
Yep.
putting everything into farm ground. It's all corn and beans, get into livestock, like get big or get out. And that
Wow.
caused a huge issue. And you just see that kind of, I think that was a turning point, and that was when the trend kind of really started, when it became all about production ag.
Really?
And
Yeah.
we started just going in the wrong direction there,
So,
in my opinion.
Okay.
and you can start connecting the dots. You brought up a great point where, okay, now we have this Roundup ready corn. So in order to not worry about weeds, I got to buy this certain type of seed.
Yeah.
In order to use this seed properly, I need to buy this certain type of fertilizer.
Treatment,
Now
yeah.
I'm really backed into a corner.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm tied to these two products, whether I want to be or not.
The illusion of choice.
Exactly. And so I was doing a little bit of looking around here, wanting to get to know. So I
Did your
want
research.
I want to read you some of these stats. I want you guys to take a guess at it. So I try to have that glass half full. I try to look, okay, well, how do we fix this? Because there's always a solution. And I feel like it's always a little easier or more right in front of your face than maybe it appears.
Yeah.
So all these terrible things, cancer rates, we can turn the boat around here.
I agree.
So, so looking for those answers, video on YouTube popped up, and it was talking about how, man, these farmers are really up against it right now. And this was posted on the University of Tennessee Institute of Ag page on their YouTube channel. It's like, from this year to this year, fuel costs, diesel, went up 3 times. Fertilizer jumped 50%. You also had some varieties of seed, hybrid seed, tripled, just one bag tripled in price. You also had machinery and land costs go up 15%. On top of that, just to get, and then it all averages out to what costs just under $200 per acre for corn is jumped to just under $400
In production costs.
in production costs. So at the time, commodity prices were on the rise, they're on the up and up, but everything else was going up at the exact same, if not higher, exponential rate. I mean, guess what year that is?
That's got to be 2013.
I was going to say 10.
I was going to say 2021.
That was 2007 to 2008. I was talking about that. So this story has been out there. It's been, and
For
it's the
so
same with the
long.
water deal. Like 15 years ago, KCII's YouTube channel had, and nobody watched this video. Like,
Yeah.
they're talking about our babies dying, and it had 400 views. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah.
can that not grab your attention and you want to know that? And it's happening in small, like Clarinda, Iowa, Polk County, our neighbors. You know, it just blows my mind how, and I think you're right. I don't like to frame farmers, and I don't think farmers want to be framed as naive. But you do trust your seed rep. You do
Yes.
trust your neighbors. And I don't believe that these farmers and hog producers north of town, I don't think they're trying to hurt people in Des Moines or
No,
whatever.
I
That's not
agree.
the case. But then you're backed into this corner that's like, I'm sorry, buddy, I got to put in glyphosate. My neighbor is too. And, you know, I need this.
Yeah, and they have families to feed. They
Yeah.
have small margins. They have land notes they're trying to pay off. Like, they're not different than any other person who has things to pay for. So when the solution is, well, I need to spray this and I need to use this seed and I have to use these chemicals so I can yield this much, that's what they're doing. And when no one is saying anything on the contrary to these normal, quote unquote, normal practices we're doing, how would a farmer know any different?
Yeah.
Why would they assume anything's wrong? Like, it's so interesting too, because like I grew up on a farm. I grew up in this ag community where it's like, that's just what you did.
Yeah.
No one asked questions.
You didn't think twice.
No. And then as you slowly learn more, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, wait a second. This has kind of been a Ponzi scheme to like extract the most from the state at the expense of the people. And ultimately, like, and if we're all conspiracy theorists here, I don't know. But like, I don't think, I think Iowa was destined to be by some of these big corporations. I think the plan was to get enough people to move out and have like 10 or 12 entities own the state of
Yeah.
Iowa. Because it kind
Really?
of goes, I do. Yeah. Because even if you go to like global goals by like the World Economic Forum, where, you know, Klaus Schwab or whatever the heck his name is says you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Carlos Schwab.
Yeah, like look what's happening to Iowa. We're losing farms every year. We're losing farmers. There's bankruptcies happening left and right in Iowa. So it's like, you're telling me that was never part of the plan, that like all this has just happened to make the rich richer and make these big ag companies grow in size and be able to exploit more, as I'm losing my neighbor down the street, as this farm is selling out, as some kids my age can't even get into the farming operation. It doesn't work anymore. I'm like, I don't know. I could be a little too conspiracy theory, but I don't think that's by coincidence.
There's also to me, the telltale sign of it's pinning town people against the country
Yes,
people.
urban
And it's
versus
like,
rural.
it's like, my God, no, we're all on this planet together.
Yes.
We're all in Iowa together, you know, and these are some of the kindest, most welcoming. I mean, you look at, just go to any small town in Iowa and you look at the football scoreboard, and the local seed dealer, the local farmer is the one
Yes.
that sponsored that to pay for that new thing and the new addition to the West End zone. So don't tell me that these people are at odds with each other. It's being manufactured.
Yes.
It is. So I'm all about conspiracy theories because it's being proven they're not conspiracies.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'm very adamant about talking about that on my social media because the rural versus urban thing is real. And I think politics has used that against
course.
the people to keep
course.
us divided. And I'm like, no. You and I are drinking the same water. What are you thinking this is me versus you? You and I's kids are drinking the same water. You and I's kids are going to the same school someday. This is not rural versus urban. And like when they stuck that wedge in there to try to widen that gap, like that is literally just to keep us distracted from the real enemy at hand. And I'm just like, you know, I'm not trying to, you know, preach anything like overly against anyone's beliefs, but like if you look in the Bible too, that's a strategy. That's a strategy that they used all the time, right? If you can convince people that their neighbor across the street from you is the enemy, you will never understand who the real enemy is, and you will always be distracted.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to sell fear. It is the easiest emotion to sell and then create action. Like telling people,
Yeah.
and it makes their neighbor down the street, they are not your enemy. The person in town, the person who's applying all these chemicals, it's the system that put us in this position to have no other choice in this quote unquote free market of agriculture that is absolute bullshit. Those people are the enemy.
Yeah.
And like
100%.
talking about it, it seems like some people are like, oh, you know, you said that? Oh my
I
gosh,
know.
you're going to
Yeah.
ruffle feathers. And I'm like, but it's the truth. Why can't we
Yeah.
see this?
Like it's like you people know this anyway.
Yes.
It's just I'm the only one. I'm the one saying it.
Yeah, but again, they're fearful of.
Even on
I think some people are still naive, though. I think some people
Yeah,
are still
well, for
not
sure.
understanding that, like,
well,
they're not trying to help you.
you're attacking their kind of how they perceive it. You're attacking their way of life, their character. You're also kind of taking a shot at their intelligence. Like,
And
it's
you're
I'm
easy to
attacking their
defend.
discernment, is what I'm attacking.
Yeah,
I know, but that's how it's consumed. That's how it's consumed.
that's how
Right.
they're interpreting it.
You know,
Yeah.
there's just a fascinating study out there, and it's like this one of the biggest Facebook pages on the planet. It's like, not my Disneyland or not my Disney World, and it's all these boomers and older folks talking about how terrible Disneyland is nowadays, or all the new changes and these stupid, and it's like, well, yeah, all these changes that are happening to whitewash this out of it, or take that language out, or take that right away because that's tied to that movie. You're in a roundabout way saying you were raised wrong. What you were told and raised on was incorrect, whether that's racist, whether that's whatever it is.
Any ideology.
Yeah, your ideology was wrong. We are correcting it. So I totally understand, and I have sympathy for people that, dig their heels in.
Yeah.
And by God, sometimes you're also taught that, and I believe in that. You should dig your heels in over things you believe. And our family and our lineage, our traditions, God damn it. You can see why it's easy to drive that wedge.
I'm stubborn as they come.
Yeah.
So I completely understand that. And like that's the thing. When certain people come at this angle and they do attack farmers, I'm like, no, that doesn't work. Please don't do that, because you are attacking their way of life. You're attacking their ethos of who they are. Like, it's not just a job to them. That is who they are. That is their identity. So like, talk about farmer suicide issue.
Ooh,
That's another
yeah.
one, right? Because so many farmers, their identity is their career. And then when they take that away, they don't know who they are. And I think that's a big component of some of the farmer suicide that we're seeing in the Midwest.
Yeah, and you're also attacking this economic engine that's built you up.
Yes.
So don't think about that. You
Yeah.
know, so
And plenty of people made it really good in the 80s. Plenty of people that played when silos came out, when the hog market came to Iowa. There's a lot of people that made off really well in that industry. So
that's
like
so funny.
But could we talk about? I mean, you guys are talking about Iowa, but obviously they're producing, and like you said, the biggest for hogs. So these hogs are drinking this water. Then what are we as other people and consumers? I mean, then we're getting these effects too. Obviously, there's got to be no data on that because you're not living in Iowa, but we're selling things that Iowa produces to other people. Have we thought of that? Like, what about us,
I
other
think that's
people in the, I mean,
Yeah. I think
that's where
a
my
great-
brain goes in this conversation. Like,
think that's a great
everyone
point.
should be drawn to what's your problems because you guys, as Iowa, are selling to the masses.
yes.
And to add to that, and this is what I've been thinking as you were talking, like where my red flag is why is this only Iowa?
Yeah.
Right? And the answer to that is that it's not
not.
only Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But they're
just
the
what we're
biggest.
talking
You're
about.
right.
the
They're the
biggest.
biggest.
We're the ones
I
in
get
the
that.
governor's race, so we're the ones talking about it.
Yeah. And let's think about this for a second. Like, I can see Iowa through those trees right there. So you're telling me on the other side of those trees, those people get cancer 50% of the time, but on this side of the trees, we don't.
Yeah, we're good.
There's a
And
line. You
the
didn't
only
know?
thing separating us is the Missouri River. So the Missouri
Yeah.
River has some special power
Yeah, it's magical.
that's
Has some juju in there.
holding everything
It's
in
from
Iowa.
Lewis and Clark for sure. They
Right.
blessed it.
Right. So the fact is, the point that I'm making is that
It's here.
I
Yeah.
guarantee it's here.
I know it
absolutely.
is. I know it is. It's just that you guys just produce so much more than we do.
Yes.
And more irrigated acres and all
Yep.
that stuff that expedites all that.
But our like the farmers in Nebraska aren't using any less fertilizer than the farmers in Iowa.
They got way more acres though.
I was going to say, we got like 26, 27 million acres of row crop.
I don't know any of the
compared
acre
to that's what I was
numbers.
going to
is
say.
it
Compared
like
to what
around
would
here?
Nebraska have.
I don't know what Nebraska has.
I don't
So
even.
But
would
you
it
guys
be-
also are a bigger grazing state, right? You have a little
Yes.
more cattle production.
Yeah. As we
go
Also,
out west,
and
yeah.
I'm not trying to be one of those people who judges a state by just what you see on the interstate, but it seems like a lot of your row crop is flatter ground. So you're going to have a little less erosion from that standpoint, a little less leaching. Obviously, if you're tiling, you're still having that. But I don't even know what your guys' tiling is like. So that would
It's
also
coming.
impact
It's here.
your water
Okay.
quality,
Yeah.
because that's a big issue too. And I will have discussions with like my contractor friends on this that really don't like it when I talk about tiling. But I'm like, tiling, for those that don't know, is perforated plastic tubing that you put underground to help get water off of the field. Because if the water's saturating a field and it's not properly draining. You can't get in the field. It's going to flood the crops. It's a problem, right? We actually like bitch about having too much water in our state. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Most people like can't have rain barrels in their yard because it's illegal from an ordinance because it's a shared resource and you can't just collect it for yourself. And then in Iowa, we're like pissed off that it rains so much and we're like, get it out of here, get it down the river as soon as we possibly can. And it's because we have a soil health problem as well. But these tiles then outlet into streams and rivers. So they're taking that water and they're just basically shunting it across the landscape and then getting it into our rivers. And that's where our drinking water comes from. So you're like just creating a perfect pipeline to get agrochemicals, soil erosion, and with soil erosion comes phosphorus as well, which is a whole other issue. But essentially, like we put these systems in place that aren't the best long term, and tiling contractors hate it when I say that, but it's the truth.
It's so true.
It's it's unfortunate.
The product is making better yield.
Well,
Yes,
but what's
exactly.
the other
You're goddamn right.
solution?
It does. It makes better yields. It takes care of some of the water table issues in
Yeah.
your field, depending on whether you're having too much rain or not enough rain, right? But yeah, like we've literally made yield and this concept of Iowa feeds the world or God, and that's the problem. We've started
At all
worshiping
costs.
that
Yeah.
over what the potential consequences are, and like that's a problem.
So what would be another solution though? Like
Well,
really, is
real
there?
quick, I want to argue.
Okay.
Because
Ooh, devil's advocate?
Well, no, not really. Just the wedge idea. So
Oh, yeah.
here we are in Nebraska trying to use our water resource, the Ogallala Aquifer, and irrigate that. These people from Iowa are telling you can't do that. That water's not yours. People in Oklahoma, people downstream in Texas need that. Meanwhile, they're tiling their water down, making it even a bigger problem for people in Alabama. So fuck you.
Yeah,
That's our water problem.
because another big high cancer in the country is where the Mississippi outlets into the
Isn't
Gulf.
that so gross? God, that was when I was in high school, like in the late 90s, talking about that dead zone. I looked at that and I thought, well,
Yeah.
they got to
Yeah.
clean that up. That is so ugly. That is so gross. No, it's just like fucking quadrupled in size.
Yeah, it's still there.
And Iowa contributes a lot to it.
Yeah.
We have the water monitoring to prove that, and people don't want to talk about that either because it's like, okay, yes, all Midwestern states are contributing to that load for sure, but Iowa is a big contributor, and it's
doubt.
because we have so many acres in row crop that are having these fertilizer applications year after year. It's just that's the reality of it.
Well, and the reality is we're going to be talking about it less from what I understand. You're talking about those water monitoring systems.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this?
yeah, the legislative.
Yeah. So I think there was 80 of these sensors across the state to give us this data about high nitrogen levels. Well, they reduced that down to 20.
Oh, they got rid
Oh,
of the
just-
sensors?
Yeah,
Just-
they
oh.
they were like no funding for this.
Yeah.
They just magically disappeared.
So they went from 80 sensors to 20.
No, it didn't
so-
magically disappear. It was voted on.
Oh, we voted.
Now, do you
okay.
think-
Yeah, the
That
people
is-
that we elect in place said, oh, we have the fastest growing cancer rate and water quality might be part of the problem. Actually, we're just going to take away the
Some
sensors
of
that
the
can
said-
prove and
Yeah.
track over time where our highest nitrate levels are in
That's
the
smart.
state.
That's
yeah,
real smart.
That makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
Lots of sense.
15 goddamn years ago, they knew that nitrogen was tied to the cancer rates, and we're going the opposit direction when you hear things like that.
Yes.
So
It's very frustrating
It
because
is.
I feel like my generation, I'm Gen Z. I hate it. I don't like it sometimes. But like, I feel like my generation is so politically averse because we grew up in a political climate that was just so divisive and it's just very icky. And I think a lot of my generation just has come to the conclusion that it's all a lie and it's all a hoax. And
Right.
what on earth can I actually do about it? And I argue at the local level, we do have a lot of power. It isn't difficult to go online and see what your legislators and your senators are voting for. I can show you every single bill that they have opposed or they have been for. I can show you when it was. We have this information. And it's really up to you as the voter. Like, you have way more power to put good people in place if you want to, but it's politics. So it's just yuck and gross, and my generation doesn't really want to get involved. And I'm not saying I do either. Like, it's not a fun thing to be a part of, but I look and see who voted for what.
sure.
And hell's bells, one of the guys that's running for governor in Iowa, he's a U.S. senator, voted to not release the name of Congress members who use their Congress funds to hide sexual assault allegations. Did you guys see that one?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
Washington, D.C. 2 Iowa guys did. I'm just going to say their names. Randy Feenstra and Zach Nunn. Both opposed that bill passing so we could know who used those funds to bury those sexual assault allegations.
Use public dollars for
Jeez.
that.
Exactly. And one of them is running for governor of the state. And I'm just like, this has got to be a fever dream. Like, wake up, people. But honestly, I think after the whole Epstein list release,
Right.
what is going on in the
yeah.
world? Everyone's just so like, what the hell is going on? But I argue, it's like we can be doomsday about it and we can be really pessimistic about it. That's definitely one way to live your life. Have fun if you choose to do that. I argue we have a lot more power at the local level. I've given up on Washington, D.C. I'm not like my faith is not in politics, local or, domestic whatsoever. But I do argue that I have hope in people. I do have hope in a lot of the people in Iowa. And I think they can come to the conclusion that some of these people we're putting in place are not doing what's best for us as a whole and as a society. Yeah. And we have the power to remove them. We don't have to vote for them. You can keep track of what they're voting for and what they're doing and hold them accountable. Gee whiz, what a crazy thought to hold someone accountable for the things that they do and the choices that they're making that are affecting us. That's affecting my family. That's affecting my future kids someday. Like, those things actually matter. We can bicker and we can talk about all these other things on the internet that don't matter, like what they're doing in Hollywood and what Susie Q, what kind of pants she's wearing. Those things don't fucking matter. But Iowa being a state that is flourishing and isn't dying from cancer and has a good education system and isn't decreasing in population, that matters. And that will affect you 15 years from now. So pay attention to those things and don't get distracted by the other things that don't matter, because that's what they are. They're distractions. They're ultimately trying to pull you from what's happening. And I think the powers that be are loving it. They're like, social media is the best thing ever. Yeah. We'll just flood people with distractions, make them look at this shiny toy over here, look at this, while we rob them from their own soil. And that's what they're doing.
How many people are running for governor?
Oh gosh, is it 5 people running on Republican and then one guy running Democrat?
Okay. And you have your
I have
person.
My pick. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm no one cares about my endorsement, but if they did, it's Zach Lane.
Okay, and that's 100%. Who you said you heard on.
He's been on Sean Ryan and the Tucker Carlson podcast, and he is the only candidate that is seriously talking about these issues that do matter.
But he can't afford a billboard.
You'll hear more from him coming up.
Well, and he's not taking money
but what does that mean?
From big donors,
funding
right?
He's funding a lot of his campaign himself.
Well, good
because
for him.
He's a normal guy. He's not a politician.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So, and I love your take. You're Gen Z, so you look at traditional media or legacy media as white noise.
Yeah.
So
corporate media is dead in my mind.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying,
I love that.
Fox News and all that.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
How can you look at Fox News and CNN about the same story and not go, they're trying to make me decide what I want to believe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're thinking for you.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I was going with it. When you see a billboard of one of the front runners or you hear a radio ad, do you your flags immediately going like, okay, that guy he's taking money from somewhere else. He is not on our side. Is that how you?
I don't trust political ads.
Okay, so
because someone's always funding it. Someone's either smearing someone or they're trying to make themselves look like something maybe they're not. Right? The only way you can actually track a politician is their track record.
Mm-hmm.
So
which is the only thing with Zach Lane is he doesn't have a political track record because he's not a politician. But all these other guys do. So you can look and see what they've done. You can see who's funding their campaign. You can pay attention to those things. So do it. Pay attention to those things.
Well, my goodness. Well, what about, so then the local cooperative who has a sweetheart deal with a hybrid seed, they're funneling millions of dollars into this campaign. We kind of feel that, that a lot of that money is going overseas or out of state at least. Mm-hmm. I mean, so what do you think of that?
I don't think it should be allowed. I don't understand.
You want to take money out of politics?
I don't like lobbying.
Oh.
I think lobbying is a tough one.
Yeah, it is.
Because it kind of has ruined politics from a standpoint of the legislators are supposed to be representing the people. And right now, it really feels like they're representing corporate interests and special interests.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to argue that's not the case when you look at Iowa.
Right.
Because our school system has also tanked in a not great way.
That's really sad.
That's another issue.
Sad.
I would say I would argue top 3 issue that a lot of people are concerned about with this upcoming race as well is our education. We used to be top like 10 in the country. We had a really good public education system.
Yeah, every freaking year. I was so
Iowa test the basic skills,
I know,
you know.
I know.
Like,
Oh, I forgot about that.
yeah,
That's right.
like we had a good education.
Forgot about that.
And I feel like I had a decent education. I think my school district was kind of a unique one though, where like maybe I got a better one than a lot of other people. But there are schools closing down in the metro right now because of some decisions that legislation has made in regard to some vouchers for private schools. Anywho's, that's another rabbit hole. But our education system is struggling. What makes people want to raise a family when they can't trust a good education for their children? That's not appealing.
Yeah, to me, oh my goch, you raise a family in Iowa, you need to shower and drink, and
Morgan's
then
like,
you go to school.
Who's raising a family in
I
Iowa?
ain't living in Iowa.
Yeah.
Don't-
It's a serious question though. Why
But-
would you want to stay?
Yeah, well, that was kind of my question. Like, why
I
are
wanna
you
stay?
living there?
Survival of the fittest. God damn it! I like large class sizes. You know, if my kid can cut it here and he can drink this.
I
Toxic
think
water.
I think it goes
Isn't
back
it
to
cheaper to live there? I do hear that.
It is
Okay.
cheaper. Yeah.
But it better be cheaper with all that shit going on.
That's
Sorry.
ain't no shit.
I
I
think
mean,
it goes
God.
back to though the fact that those same kind of things are happening here.
Yeah.
We're just not acknowledging it.
And
at least
maybe
someone's
not to
acknowledging
that
it. At least
extent.
something is starting to get in motion over
Yeah.
there. You know, people talking, right?
So-
people aren't talking here.
I think
Yeah.
it's a bigger,
Which-
it's just a bigger issue, right? In Iowa.
I'm not convinced that it is. I think it's just as bad here. I think that just our people aren't talking about it. I think
So
if,
we need
I
a
think
Joy
if, I think
here.
if we put in
I'll
these
tell you what I get for a water filter after this.
yeah.
Water sensors.
I think if we put in all these water sensors and all the other things that they've been doing, that we would be like, oh shit, and someone would be like, shut those things off.
Yeah.
I
Cut
mean,
out 60
speaking
of
of water, though, we got our water tested and get.
Yeah, but we didn't get it. Like, I mean, that's a whole different thing.
Oh,
It's
okay,
like
okay.
some salesman shows up and is like, oh, let me check the thing. Oh, okay.
So it wasn't
yep, you
like
have,
that
you know,
super
yeah,
scientific?
yeah,
Okay,
no.
all
It's not
right.
like we sent it to a lab.
True.
What I wanted to ask you as you were talking about that, what's the conversation like at home? I mean, your family is a row crop family. That's how you guys came up. That's how, that's what your family's been built on. How does that work? With you and your dad as an example. I mean,
Yeah.
any of those conversations.
So my dad's a boomer. He's an old man, and I've kind of just given up on trying to convince him of other things. He's also just a stubborn human being. So to me, it's kind of like, it's a lost cause. I could beat this dead horse, or I could go to the masses and I could talk to people who maybe are like me and actually care about the future.
Yeah.
Because not to be morbid and like whatever to the boomers, but like they're on their way out. They don't have to deal with some of the consequences that my generation will have to.
Right.
So I'm not necessarily trying to convince that generation that this is like eminently important. I'm trying to talk to my generation more and millennials, whoever, because the state of Iowa could look remarkably different 15 years from now, 20 years from now. I really do believe that. And I think we need to start taking action now. And I'm not seeing it happen with the older generation. I think they just have been lied to long enough, and they kind of are just like in retirement mode,
Yeah.
and they're just cruising. And I don't blame them. Like, why would you want to shift up things now? Like,
right.
Yeah.
they're just chilling, So I'm not hating on them for it, but I'm also trying to like put my resources of educating and bringing awareness to the problem to people that will actually listen, that also have a chance at making positive change.
Yeah.
It's kind of my take on
Yeah.
it. Doesn't mean I'm going to shut up about it, because like anyone wants to talk about it, let's sit down and talk.
Sure.
But some of these legislators that are like denying it's a problem, yeah, they're in their 70s.
Yeah. Right.
Go figure.
And the rebuttal is going to be what? Like, well, if we do that, like we can't feed the world. We're
Right.
not going to be able to make
It's
enough crop.
national
We're not going to,
security.
yeah, like all these kinds of things, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what do you say to those kinds of things when folks come with that? Folks, the rebuttal is folks come with things that's like an end all be all. Like,
Yeah.
no, we cannot do that because this is what's going to happen. It's going to be the end of the world. It's like when
I love the inverse of that, though. You're only one person. You can't make a difference. And then on the flip side, you got to do this, otherwise
Right,
society
right.
will collapse.
I compare it to when, not too long ago when we were going through a bunch of this Epstein bullshit and somebody supposedly said, we cannot come out with all this information because if we do, it's going to ruin the whole
Pam Bondi.
system, right?
Yeah, it was Pam.
And there was kind of some debate about like, was it said, wasn't said, was it not said? You know, they were trying to like dumb it down. But either way, if we do this, it's going to burn down the whole system. And almost everybody I knew was like,
burn it down.
burn the fucker down. I don't
Yeah.
care, right? And I feel like that's the response that we're getting in some of this
Pretty
ag
sure you
stuff
said that.
is people are saying, if we do this, it's going to burn the system down. Like we're going to wreck everything.
Yeah. Well, when Trump came out with that executive order about like the immunity for glyphosate from Bayer Monsanto so that people cannot sue, you know, I was like, ooh, we're going to war. You know what I mean? Like that didn't make sense to me because I'm like, yeah, if he's trying to protect these like big ag giants and, you know, their corporate interests, whatever, sure. But I'm like, and then we're going to war with Iran. Like, maybe shifting up the way we grow our food during a time where we're going to war isn't, you know, the best timing in the world. But the argument that people make of like, well, this is how we feed the world. I love this argument because what exactly who are we feeding?
Yeah.
We're
Cows?
feeding the world. Why do we have to feed the world?
Why can't we just feed us?
Why can't we just start domestically? Is always my thing. And then my second point is let's look at where our corn and beans are going to. How much of corn production goes towards ethanol production?
A lot.
45% plus. Is that feeding the world or is that like powering some of the world? And then I also make the argument that what is the corn going to be made into? It's not you don't go to the grocery store and buy corn on the shelf. It goes into highly processed foods. It gets turned into high fructose corn syrup, which is killing us, making us obese and fat and stupid. Why are we focusing our energy on low quality, low nutrient dense food sources when we have the power to grow beef, to grow pasture raised livestock, to have more eggs, produce food that is very nutrient dense, that does truly feed at least our community?
Because
Like
it's cheap.
exactly. Like it comes down to money and it comes
Yes.
down
Yeah,
to the
there's
market
money.
and
Yeah.
it's subsidies. You can get into all that. But I'm like, gee whiz, guys, that's not a free market. We're not functioning and operating in a free market. And it's not healthy food. So like it's kind of a bit of the brainwashing that older generation got because that's what everyone always says. Well, Iowa feeds the world. And I'm just like, man, that is a really good tagline that they use to like convince us, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep running on fumes. Keep letting, you know, your neighbor down the street commit suicide. And then that kid in your community getting cancer. Keep doing it because we feed the motherfucking world.
Yeah, 'cause
And I'm just like,
it's an honorable thing,
Yes,
right? Like,
it is.
It's like being a soldier.
that big
It's
yes, yatta girl.
You can die for that. You should feel pride that you're dying for the fact that you are feeding the world.
yeah.
Get out of here.
And I truly do think farmers are the backbone of the world.
Yeah.
They have the
agreed.
most important job.
that is the
Food
economic-
security is national security. It is absolutely of utmost importance. We have just dug ourselves on the wrong side and we have put a stake in the ground for the wrong people when it comes to who we're truly feeding.
Yeah, and I think like human consumption of corn, like sweet corn, is like 1%.
Oh, really?
It's
that low?
It's something low.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm
It's
like
something low. Don't
my
quote me, but-
DNA is 76% sweet corn when July comes around. Big sweet corn.
That's but you can kind of see like, oh man, as far as lobbyists goes, there's probably a couple big players funneling money to this one guy, and that's, you know, Pepsi Cola, who needs that high fructose corn syrup cheap. Yeah. We need that shit. It's cheaper than sugar, but then we don't have to deal with Cuba or whatever's going on in Florida, their goddamn water crisis. And then we also have Bayer Monsanto overseas saying, we're right in line with you, Pepsi Cola. Isn't this great?
Yeah.
Let's there's only a couple guys and gals that we really need to focus on. It's a pretty easy game, and it's very unfair to the common folk, but it's very beneficial to a few senators, a few congressmen.
Yeah. They're making out real good.
That is it. And nobody, they say things, but they don't really give a shit.
No.
I think going in, a lot of people have pure, good ideas, and they want to make a difference. They want to make a change. And I think you're seeing it with this administration. They got voted in, and Iowa, I think all but like 2 or 3 counties voted for Trump. That's all counties.
Yeah.
And that's a Democratic state.
Oh, I voted for Trump.
Right?
I did. I'm not happy with a lot of the shit he's
I was
doing.
going to say, but this isn't what you voted for.
No.
A goddamn
Yeah.
war, A lot, yeah.
There's
a lot. There's a lot there.
Oh, there's
We're
a lot.
talking about water. Let's not get into that. But my point being that, yeah, it's very easy to connect the dots, and we make it out to be this big thing where, oh, how can we ever solve this riddle? No, it's pretty simple. Sever that goddamn connection between a few players and Congress people. And I don't. I guess the way the system's set up right now, how do you go about doing that?
It's not. It may seem simple. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, right.
one thing, a friend of mine who works in the like conservation world, they have a prairie farm. They grow native prairie plants and they sell them in like native seed mixes. He's made the point before, and I think he's 100% dead on accurate, that someone's going to have to lose. When we look at the solution to some of these problems, someone's going to lose. A lot of us are going to have to sacrifice, and there will be losses. So starting the conversation with that like this is not a some win game. Like, no, there's going to be sacrifices in the short term. There's going to be some in the long term. That's not something people want to do.
Right.
Like, everyone is yelling, I need more money. I want higher prices for this. The cattle market's doing this. Like, everyone's upset about it. But I'm like, okay, what are we willing to sacrifice as people? Because it's either we continue in the direction we're going and the trend will continue to worsen, or we decide to make actionable change now.
And it would be kind of an inverse type of a deal there where, okay, if you're going to deal with the big players, they're going to make it a living hell on you. Like, you're going to feel that impact first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I do think if you get into it in 2 or 3 years down the road, I think a lot of farmers would like, hey, I don't need all this overhead. I don't need 12 combines or 5 combines. You know, I don't need 8 new steel buildings, Corvettes. You mentioned that, how everybody got paid in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
I'd always noticed driving my little neck of the woods, there would be a Corvette, those domed. I'm like, man, that guy made out good when he drove
he had a
around
good
some of
year.
those damn
Like
things.
the Quonset.
Yeah, the Quonset,
Yeah.
the Corvette, I think was the name of the company.
Yeah, it's you're exactly right, and that you can apply that to so many things that we've got going on right now. Like, if something is going to change and it's going to get better, someone has to lose.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's willingness on anybody's part to do that. Like, it's that's what a lot of this boils down to, is just like individual survival. Like, I will keep stepping on the back of that dude's head so that I can continue to put food on my table, so that my kid can go to college, so that whatever else, even though you know it's wrong and it doesn't feel good, you still have to survive. You still have to do what you need to do, and that's the system that we're in, really.
I got a question, and I meant to get into this and understand it better, and I attempted to, but it's hard to find real answers. How is the Strait of Hormuz, how is that impacting fertilizer costs? Because I just saw a sob story on the news like 2 days ago where boomers, they were old farmers.
I think I know which video you're talking about.
I tried to hold out and buy fertilizer late because it was so high. Now I got to buy it now. Now it's 3 times higher.
Is the dude Amish? Or?
She
I'll say
kind
it
of...
was a woman.
It was a woman, and she was kind of crying. That was my old lady crying. It's a little Irish.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I only got like 3 voices.
Jeez.
But
Australia.
anyhow, she kind of gambled, and she tried to hold out for lower prices. And guess what? They actually quadrupled on her.
Yep.
And they're citing, oh, that's because of the Iran war and the Strait of Hormuz and those people over there, the brown people that we should hate, those people. How in the hell is that impacting fertilizer costs in rural Iowa?
They're going up.
I know, but how? How
Like,
is a
Because
goddamn
that
strait?
strait is being used to transport the fertilizer.
Oh,
It's
it
coming
is?
from like Saudi Arabia. Yeah,
That's
so like
where
a
your
lot
fertilizer comes from?
Some of it. Yeah,
Well,
a lot
and
of it comes from China. We get a lot from, I believe it's Saudi Arabia. I want to say, like, I did a dive on this, and I'm
Great,
like,
this is what I was
don't
asking for.
quote me on all of this, but like, there's like, they're not caverns, but it's like underground mines essentially, where they're like pulling phosphate from. In, I want to say it's like Saudi Arabia, some of those.
Okay, so it is going
Middle
through the
Eastern
strait.
Yes, it's coming
Okay.
through the strait.
But-
So yeah, that was a big deal. I remember when that first happened, it was like it was a first email in my email inbox the next day. It was like the Strait of Hormuz, how is this going to affect fertilizer? And I'm just like, oh, fudge. This is like,
But it's like every single time you turn around, there's
Something.
if there is an excuse they can use to
Yeah.
drive the price of something, they use it.
Yeah.
But also, isn't like some of these fertilizers are made from oil. essentially. Like they need the oil to make these fertilizers. Is that correct?
I can't really speak too much on that.
Yeah, I think that's part of the issue.
Okay.
Is that they need that base product to manufacture this.
Well, that was a convenient part of a lot of those newscasts that they just leave out. It's just like, just believe us. The strait
Right.
is being restricted. Fertilizer goes up. Like,
Well, it's like everything.
What?
I mean, come on, all the flights. Like, shit, we still have to buy flights for July. Like, they ain't gonna go down. I mean,
Yeah.
just wait. Okay, what are we gonna wait for? I mean, let's
it's
hope
not-
it
it's
does. I
definitely
mean,
not
it's
going
just
down, yeah.
it's gonna. I don't know.
Here's
It's-
something real quick online.
Well, yeah.
Most synthetic chemical fertilizers are made using fossil fuels, primarily natural gas, oil, and coal. Nitrogen fertilizers in particular rely on natural gas to produce ammonia, while sulfuric acid from oil refining is used for other types. On and on and on.
that sounds
So
great.
Okay.
they need
Synthetic.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds so
But that's,
good.
That's part
So
of
healthy.
the problem too. Is like we are relying on international imports of these synthetic fertilizers.
Yeah.
God gave us animals
Yeah,
that
right, right.
poop on the ground, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
make almost perfect like fertilizer for a lot of stuff. Yes, there's other ways we could amend the soil, but I argue we have a lot of things here in the United States that can help with that.
Sure.
We need such a high volume of these synthetic fertilizers. We have to get it from overseas. We don't have the capacity to do that currently in the United States. I argue that's a problem.
Well, and one of the things that we found out from our president, who likes to brag about all the things, is that we are the largest producer of oil in the world. That we have enough to handle everything that we want to do. We're the greatest. We're the biggest.
we
We're the
are
best.
the shit.
We're the
there's
best.
there's nothing. Nobody does better at this than we do.
Right.
So if you believe that, then you have to believe that. What the fuck are we doing then?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like you just said, we've got it all here.
It's the system is not sustainable. The infrastructure of what we're doing currently is not sustainable. And I'm not saying that from an environmental side. I'm saying that from a longevity side.
totally.
Like
Oh, yeah.
the tipping point is going to come, whether you love big ag and the current system or not. It is not for debate that it is not sustainable for the long
Yeah.
term. Just from even a resource side of like our soil, we're losing a lot of
Right.
topsoil.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you would know this. Like, what do you got? Like 50 to 70 years left of topsoil?
Those figures always kind of make me wonder, just because who was I was talking about this very thing someone the other day. Because there's arguments that like we have 50 years or 60 years
Right.
left of topsoil.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that totally depends on where you are, the type of soil, the topography, the
patterns.
grade. Yes. And like you can also argue in some places it's probably sooner than that actually. And I think there's farmers farming subsoil right now in Iowa that like they have lost their topsoil. It
Don't
went
you
down
think-
the river.
Don't you think with the amount of stuff that like we put in fields that you could like grow a nice corn crop on concrete?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like
I
if
mean,
you
have
just
you guys seen those pictures of them like growing in the storm drain where it's like
Yeah,
a little corn
right,
just
right.
coming up?
Gosh.
Because seed technology and
Yeah.
the genetics have gotten so good.
and that's what
Yes.
it's getting to is that like the natural processes that have always happened with healthy soil and all that almost are getting to a point where they're not needed because of the genetics, because of all the stuff we can pump in there. We can manufacture a
Yeah.
fake environment
Right.
that it's all going to grow in.
Yeah.
I would argue it's still needed because you're never going to be able to get the same yield farming subsoil, even if like seed genetics keep getting better. I argue it's not going to be the same, but yeah, it's definitely like less of a problem or a
Yeah.
inhibiting factor.
Yeah.
But we just keep running down that, running up this hill, you could say.
Yeah.
And everyone knows what's going on. And, your dad's not trying to stranglehold, your farm, so it's not going to be productive for you.
Yeah.
But he's like, God damn it, I need X amount of bushels,
Yeah.
and if anhydrous is the key in spring and fall, that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
God, that stuff scares me. I hate
Yeah.
that stuff.
Oh, we don't do
God, I
anhydrous
hate
on our
that
farm.
stuff.
No.
Oh, you guys don't at all?
No.
Is that common around you, or is
No, I feel like everyone uses gas.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the cheapest.
Yeah, it's cheap and it's just kind of what everyone does. And I think it's nasty stuff. Someone almost dies from it every year in Iowa. And I'm just like, it's so funny to me how we normalize things in Iowa agriculture. There was a conference I went to, a big soil health event, great conference, great people. And there was an individual that came down from Canada, and they saw like the lines in the fields that are created when you pull anhydrous.
Oh, yeah.
And they asked, like, what is that? And I did my very best to explain to them what anhydrous ammonia gas is. And they were just appalled that
Really?
we put this gas in the ground
Yeah.
that also has the capacity to like dehydrate, constrict our lungs, and kill us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was so incomprehensible for this individual.
Wow.
It made me realize how fucked up it is. And I was
Yeah.
like, gosh dang, you're right. Like that is pretty weird, but
Yeah.
it's just what we've done.
Yeah.
It's just what we do, and it's cheap.
Yeah, I went to like one of those safety conferences that I had to cover for the news, and it was put on by a big co-op, and they passed around what looked to be like a little Monopoly $1 bill, just so small like this.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, that's neat. Oh, cool." And he goes, "What that is a dollar bill that we put in a closed container, and we added ammonia anhydrous to it, and it sucked the moisture out of that dollar bill."
Oh no shit.
Yeah, so it took a regular dollar bill and shrunk it to
That's
it looked like a
crazy.
little. I mean, and I'm just thinking, think of all the moisture in a dollar bill.
Yeah.
Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, what's that going to do to your lungs?
Yeah.
You know?
And that's people have
Yeah.
serious accidents with it every year.
Every year,
that's wild.
God, you just think about people turning those cranks, and you just have your 14-year-old son out there fucking off,
Yeah.
hung over from the party after the Friday night
and
football
all it
win.
takes is one hose to pop off. It takes one valve to not be secure. Like it could be an accident when they're moving the tanks down the highway and the
Yep.
bullet. Like accidents happen.
Yeah.
And it's just not a safe form of fertilizer, but it's cheap and it's effective. So that's what we're going to use.
God,
Also,
that's
we're
scary shit.
dealing with life, right? I'm not talking about humans. I'm talking about the plants. I'm talking about the soil microbes. I'm talking about all those kinds of things. We know that you take a breath of anhydrous, it's going to suck you dry and you're going to die.
Yeah.
We don't think that has some kind of effect on other living things.
Oh, we know.
Right?
Yeah, earthworms
Yeah.
are not fans of
Yeah.
anhydrous
Yeah.
at all. Yeah, we know that. But it doesn't matter. People don't look at their farms and think soil biology and like
Yeah.
all the grubs and bugs that are underneath the dirt that God created to have a symbiotic relationship
yeah.
with the plants that are growing up above. Like it works if you don't fuck with it. And we've messed with it.
Yeah.
And
Oh
it's
my
just
gosh,
to the
for
point.
too long.
It's just but you can repair it.
Yeah.
Like there are people that are doing it. There are farmers that are finally getting to do attention.
Yeah.
There's authors, people going on podcasts. Joel Salatin, the lunatic farmer, Polyface Farms in Virginia. He's wonderful. White Oak Pastures.
Yeah.
Blanking on that guy's name. Will Harris. He's fantastic. Great book. Dirt to Soil, Gabe Brown up in
Yeah.
the Dakotas. Notice how they're like all located across the country because people always make that argument that certain conservation practices don't work on my
Right,
farm.
right.
And I'm like, I will find you a farmer
Yeah.
in your state. I will find
Yeah.
someone. Maybe your soil types aren't exactly the same and your operations are different, but I will find you someone who is doing what you say can't be done because it can be done. Like, don't use that excuse that, like, it doesn't work. Okay, show me the physics because if it doesn't, girl math in my mind, you're wrong. It does work. You just don't want to change. And like, that's
Right.
okay to admit that, but don't tell me something
Yeah.
doesn't work because I
Right.
can show you these individuals. I can show you these pioneers in this space that have, against all odds, made it work. And it wasn't fun. Like reading these books of these guys, they were made fun of. They did have really
Yeah.
hard conversations. They did look at their finances and go, oh shit, I don't know if this is going to work. And look at them now, right? Like
Yeah.
they figured out how to break out of all the subsidies and the quote unquote free market that doesn't exist, and they made their own market. And now they're employing people. Now they actually have say in their products and the price of their products, and they can have more longevity in their business. Where a lot of the farms in Iowa, the succession plans are not good.
Yeah.
These farm kids that are coming up that want to take over the farm after dad's done, it's not going to happen for a lot of people, and
Right.
they're in denial of that right now.
Right.
They're like, we can make this work, and I'm like, you got to diversify. You got to do some other things. Doing it the way dad has been doing it for the last 30 years is not going to work for you. We know it's not sustainable. Hard conversations to have,
Yeah.
but look at the pioneers that have done it differently.
Yeah.
Go to them for advice. Go to these conferences. Seek out information. They're willingly offering up because they want to see better change and more regenerative agriculture across the country. So, like, there are solutions.
Right. Well, and it goes back to that, like, you're fed this, you're only one farmer, you're only one guy, you one gal, you can't make
Yeah,
a difference.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? You can do a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And it starts with one.
Yeah.
It starts with you, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, being from Iowa, so just assume you take the same stance as all Iowans here.
Yeah, lump me in there, please.
We're talking about, you're losing population. That is happening.
Yeah.
And the wealth just leaving the state as well, and let's admit it that most of what you produce, whether it's grain, whether it's meat, whatever, that leaves the state too, the majority of it.
Yeah.
You're also seeing it on I guess you would say a corporate level, a macro level. And I thought it was real bad news when John Deere left Iowa and where'd they go to? New York? Is there corporate?
I feel like didn't they have some go down to Mexico too?
Mexico?
Yeah.
So what's the if you had to like mash everyone together in Iowa and get their coffee shop thought on that, what would that be? Because I think that's a telltale sign. Another one of those signs is like, look, it's not just your small town Iowa. John Deere is gone.
Yeah. But it's like, did you think they cared about you?
Mm-hmm. Right.
No, they're
Right.
trying to make money. They have CEOs that need raises. Like, they're a for-profit company.
Yeah.
They're going to look at their bottom dollar and they're going to look at what they need to do to adjust so they can keep on making money. So they're not concerned about like Joe Blow losing his job as an engineer at the plant in Iowa.
But that's how goofy this has gotten. There shouldn't be a place in the world John Deere would want to be other than Iowa. The most
Yeah.
profitable place for a tractor producer is Iowa.
Where the most money in ag is.
But then I think people make the argument that if they didn't export some of those jobs, then your tractor would cost even more.
Oh,
And
of
I'm
course,
like,
of course.
yeah.
There's all the defense,
Yeah.
all
Right.
of it there.
Like-
But
Yeah.
that's how I'm going back to goofy. That's how goofy this has gotten.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. And what's wrong with giving a guy a raise?
Yeah.
Why is that a bad thing?
Right.
Okay. So
No,
Don't you
I
think,
agree.
like you've said this a number of times, I mean, money is at the root of all this, right? That's what you're just talking about with
Follow
deer,
the money.
right? You've said that a number of times, like, and we've talked about this on our podcast.
I
so
mean, that's kind of your
you guys know
go-to.
how I feel
Yeah.
about money. Yeah. I mean, isn't that the fix, like, to all of this, is to take out the financial motivation, the financial tie, and get people, which would get people back to being motivated by like doing right by others and those types of things.
Oh, you're talking ethics.
Yeah.
see, he thinks money's evil, and
Ooh,
I think you would
the
see.
love of money is the root of all evil.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Money is not evil, but
Yeah.
the love
Yeah.
of money is
Yeah.
the root of all evil.
Because you made a great point of it with White Oak Farms.
Yeah, White Oak Pastures.
You do things quote unquote the right way, like what you're talking about. There's money involved in that.
Oh yeah,
But there's going to be struggle. There's going to be heartache. There's going to be all those things that actually make you better.
they're
better-
character building.
Yeah. Well, and just, more resilient to markets.
Yep.
Oh,
Fluctuation
my God, the
shifts.
streets shut down because we're at a stupid war.
Yeah,
Guess what?
they're doing
that
fine.
does nothing to my Charolais cattle taking a shit on the pasture and fertilizing it naturally.
Exactly.
Does nothing to that. I'm fine. So what I'm getting at is you can do things right and still make a killing as far as making money, make it profitable. And that's where I'm like, John Deere could figure that out.
I don't
They could make
think-
a ton. They could make a pile of money, and they did for a long time in Iowa. And that's where they should be.
I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but I don't know of any scenarios where people are doing things right, in parentheses. And what I mean by right is like ethically, that you can feel good, you can sleep good at the end of the day by doing things that way and making a killing.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think they go hand in hand. Yeah.
I think there's plenty. That was my case in point. Was the White Oak Pastures?
I mean, are those guys making a ton of money? Like, are they?
I mean, I don't know what their books are,
shit.
but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not making money.
Yeah,
like
sure,
he
yeah.
himself, I think he has like 70 plus employees. Like he's the bigger employer in his home county, which is like one of the poorest counties in Georgia.
which is part of
and they're sending steaks worldwide.
Yeah,
But that's part of the thing that I'm talking about. Like, part of the reason why he may be making less money than someone else who's trying to maximize that is he's decided maybe 20 of those employees I could probably cut them and make the other 50 work harder and make more money. But no, I want to employ these people. I'm
Yeah.
willing to move some of that profit to their so that I make less.
He's not trying to maximize.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
He's not trying to abuse money. He's
Right,
not trying to
right,
hoard
right.
it for himself.
And
He's
that's
not
where
a-
you go back
he's
to
not a
the
dragon.
love of money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have the love for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He
He's
has
not
the-
being corrupted by it.
I think he has the
He's
love to be a
comfortable.
rancher.
Yeah.
He loves that, and he loves bringing wealth into his community by employing people in
Yep.
his community
Yep.
and seeing his community flourish as opposed to being really poor.
The money is a byproduct
Yes.
of what he's actually trying to do.
Yes.
And you decide whether it's good or bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's on you.
Everyone, I think,
Yeah.
has different psychology with like how they feel or treat money. But Dave Ramsey, I love him. One thing he always says is like, "Show me your bank statement, and I'll show you what you love." Like you cannot
Yeah.
hide what you quote unquote worship in your life
Yeah.
by looking at your bank statement. It is there to see. Like what you spend your money on is what you love, and you can't hide that.
Right.
And I think that's a fair point. It's like, yeah, what do you spend your money on? Where do you put your time and your
Exactly.
dollars? Like that's
Yeah.
what
Yep.
you care about. You can't
It's a
deny
straight
that.
reflection, right?
Yes,
It's
it is a mirror. Absolutely.
And for him to employ those 70 people, he loves making that money so he can build even more wealth to employ even more people.
Yeah.
There is a way. There is a way to do it.
Yeah. So, man, we've gone a while. This is a good conversation. We'll probably split this up into a couple of parts. I've got a couple more questions to shift gears a little bit if you guys still have like 15, 20 minutes. But I want to take a break before we do that. So, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Let's take a quick break here.